Hi friends, today we are going to solve smart scale problem. A sales executive needs to simplify an assigned sale task. The task is to sell the items given to her in a bag where each item has a ID number. It is easier to sell the items with same ID number. The sales executive decides to remove some items from the bag. The largest number of the items that she could remove from can remove is also known to her. Find the minimum number of different IDs final bag can contain after removing the allowed number of items. So this is the given entire given problem statement. So let us look at some of the input test cases. So the first, let us take this example. So the 6 basically denotes the number of items she's going to have in a bag, and all the 6 elements would be the different IDs of the items. So basically the salesperson would have uh, item of one ID would be 2, number of items of 2 ID would be 3, and similarly item number 3 he would be having 1, and he is allowed to remove a max of 3 items from the bag. So basically the way he would be doing is would be a greedy approach. So basically he would be basically trying to remove the bag that contains the minimum number of items of a particular ID first. So here the minimum number of items of a particular ID is 3. So he'll be removing that one, and then he will check is there any more items that he could remove. So basically number of items, he had already removed one items, so now he has the permission of removing 2 items. So in that case basically the salesperson would check whether is there in the bag is there available any items whose quantity is um, less than or equal to 2, and he will be finding that there is one number item ID of 1 which is 2, so he can remove the item number 1, and in that case he will at last his bag will contain only the items with ID 2. So that's the idea, and the output would be 1 because there is only one type of item that is going to be present there. So let us write the code. It's going to be pretty straightforward. I already had taken the inputs of the test cases. So for this value, so all the items would be 4, means all the item ID is 1. So 1 would basically have 4 quantities and is max allowed to remove maximum of 2. So in that case it does not matter how many items he removes or not, because he will end up having one items, means one item of a particular ID. So let us try to do this. So here it would be assigning a dictionary. Reason for assigning a dictionary is for I in range. So the reason for assigning a dictionary is that we want to have the count of how many items or different types that are present. So here we would be writing value, a temporary variable, does not matter, int input if bag op if value. Basically we're checking whether that key is present in the dictionary or not. So in bag dot keys, if that value is not present, then it will be assigning a value in the dictionary with that key and assign it a value of 1, else we'd be incrementing the current existing key value with +1. This is the basic idea. So in this way we'll be having able to count the number of items that is going to present. And now for items that is allowed to remove, so it will be taking the input from the prompt. Always remember to convert your input because it is in basically comes in string. So if it's a number value, try to convert is using an input or using an int. So now the question is that in our dictionary how many different types of item is present. Means what do you mean by different types of item? So if you look at this key, right? So there are, so for example, let us try to do it this way. So here you could basically say that there are three types of items with unique IDs. So there is one item with ID 1. There is, sorry, there are two items with unique ID 1. There are two items. So there are three items. My mistake. There are three items with unique ID 2, and there are one item with unique ID 3. So there are three different items with unique IDs. So we could write items, which is basically going to be the length of the dictionary. So length of bag. Now we'll write a for loop. So for each in, so here we are going to use a greedy approach. So for that, so we will find all the values in the dictionary, means not the keys but the values of those, and we'll be sorting those in ascending order, so that we could remove the items with least number of, so we could remove the IDs with least number of quantity. So that's the idea. So here it'd be checking first if each is should be less than equal to items removed. Then in that case, items, so in that case the items that is to be removed should be subtracted by the total number of items that are being removed, and the different items would be also getting decremented by 1. So that's the idea. So at last we'll be printing the value of different items that are present. So let's run the code. I hope it would work. So here we are getting an input of 3 because we have removed two items of 1 and one item of 3. But let us try with something else. Here I would be saying that I'm allowed to remove only 2 items rather than 3. So in that case the output should be let us check this. This is something, this issue generally comes up quite often. So when the input or statements are very less. But let me check. Let us print the bag also. There is a slight mistake because this one should give me a value of 2 rather than 1. So let's check this thing. Hmm. Could be happening because of this one. Yeah, so I think the error was happening because it was a loop that was iterating, so that's why it was taking some issues. I think it would be better. We cannot do it in this way. Yeah, so the issue is happening because it has taken that input. So when I do 2 and 3, the value is coming as 2 3 rather than only 3. So that's the issue. Okay, so it is happening because of our way we are trying to input the values, but the code is correct, which is something we should be satisfied with. So yeah, so this is correct actually. So it was happening because when you have entered all these values, the last value when you are trying to subtract means when you're trying to erase with backspace and entering 3. So instead of taking just 3, it was taking as 2 3. That's why some abnormality was occurring. So it is problem of the IDE. But generally in most of the cases the input would be given at once rather than writing a backspace and stuff. So I think we are good to go. Yeah, so that's all from this problem. So there is not much to it. And as always, uh, thanks for watching and stay tuned. And there will be more videos coming on these sessions. So please keep on watching.